Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Lines Forever. Today I have a 7v7 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. Let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the north, ending with Team 2 in the south. Starting up with Team 1's northeasternmost player, it is Kenny Lee 090 going first land as a Cybern. He is in glow-in-the-dark green. To his west, it is another Kenny here for Team 1. It is Kenny Real Dad going first land as a UEF. He is a 1300 in Batman Gray. And we have in Chevy Crimson to his west, Will-O-Wisp going first land as a UEF. He is in 2100, the highest ranked player on Team 1 and in the game overall. In the northwest corner here for Team 1 in Regal Purple, it is Moisto going first land. UEF, he is in 1800. To his southeast in for screen, we have the Cybern Commander of Mythologist going first land as a 1300. And as a 1400 hit for Team 1, it is Schmuck Benny going first land as an Aeon. He is in orange, the color orange, going first land. And last but not least hit for Team 1 here in the east is Pika Man going first land as a Seraphim. He is a 1400 in Ruby Red. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have one Seraphim, one Aeon. I think there's 2 Cyberns and 3 UEF, so Team 1 has access to every technology in the game. Starting off with Team 2's front line in Snow White, we have Crotch Critter going first land as an Aeon. He is a 1600, very entertaining name there. Critter, probably will just refer to you to that from now on. To his east, we have Sizon going first land as another Aeon here for Team 2. He is a 1500 in lightish red pink. And in Barbie pink to his east, we have P4 Elka going first land as a Cybern. He is a 1400, probably referring to him as Elk for short. To his southeast, we have in Stitch Blue Sui going first land as a Cybern. He is a 1700. And to his west, the item in the world that you should never eat is microplastics going first land as a Seraphim. He is an 1800, the highest ranked player on Team 2 in Pac-Man Yellow. And to his west in Rust, we have LCR going first land as a Seraphim. He is an 1100. And last but not least for Team 2 on the southwestern side of the map, it is Hollow Submarine going first land. He is in Light Oak 10 as a 1700. So for Team 2's side of the map, they also have all of the factions represented, except they have 2 Aeon, 2 Cyberns, 2 Seraphim, and 1 UEF. I think I did my math right. So Team 2 also has, again, all of the factions represented. And for this game of 14 players, let's take a look at the reclaim here before they scoop it all up into their coffers. They have 24,500 reclaim. So they have, I'd say, 1,750 mass per player, just kind of rounding numbers off, so it's really easy for my head to deal with. It is a decent amount of mass to upgrade, to upgrade, to produce units, and of course to throw at one another. And for Team 2 side of the map, we'll take a look at their mass, not deviations, but their scatterings on the map. There are 1, 2, 3 Tri-Mechs positions here on the front line, and a dual mech slash, I don't know if I like dual mechs or twin mechs. I might like twin mechs a little more, but we'll say dual mechs for now. And in the east, just a lot of one-offs here for Elk to grab. Some mechs in the back line, but honestly, there's not really a whole lot. I mean, yeah, I can call this a Tri-Mechs position. It's close enough. And it's behind the front line, so not really under threat, at least for the time being here for Team 2 to grab. And in the middle, there's a couple of mass points. Not really a lot of them. So for the most part, our Team 1 and Team 2 players will have their mass mostly protected on their front lines in terms of, trying to grab it without fighting over a whole lot. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and see where our players are moving. Of course, we know where they're moving to the middle of the map. Take a look at the reclaim once again. It's all in the middle of the map. There's a little bit in the back line and a tiny bit over here next to LCR and Sizola, but essentially all of it is on that front line. So players hurriedly moving southward or northward, depending on which team they are on, to grab all of that mass. It looks like it's going to be so far a 2v2 scenario in the western between Mythologist, Will-O-Wisp, Cricket, or Critter, not Cricket, Critter and Hollow Submarine. Just as a reminder, of course, Will-O-Wisp is a 2100, and Team 2's highest rated player of not Mythologist, excuse me, of Microplastics is over here. So there's a little bit of a mismatch here. We have a 1600 and a 1700 versus a 2100, but they are going up against a 1300, so it kind of balances out. But just to be aware, of course, there's a little bit of a rank mismatch over there. Everywhere else should be pretty much fine. Pika Man's at a 1400, and of course, Microplastics is an 18, with Elk at a 14 versus Kenny, who's at a 17. So pretty much is almost a 1-for-1 in the eastern side of things. Looks like it's also going to be a 2v2 on that. Oh, no, it's actually going to be a 3v2 in favor of Team 2, with Sui coming in to move to intercept Pika Man. Elk just going for a reclaim, and Pika Man going for the damage. Has already dealt 2,000 damage to the column of Elk, so he is kind of dangerously low, even in the beginning of the match. So has to be very careful with how far he sits on that front line. Team 1's Eastern player of said Pika Man just pumping out facilities, trying to spam up as many engineers as he can to reclaim. Looks like Pika Man will force Elk away, and he'll be able to reclaim for the time being. In the western side of that eastern side, we see Sui getting a nice drop, getting a bunch of reclaim immediately. Those engineers will pay for themselves and then some. Team 1's Schmuck Benny in the middle of the map, kind of hanging out. There's actually no mass in the middle except for where he is currently sitting. At least he scooped it all up. Team 2 Saison has his mass firmly secured, but most of the fighting is occurring on the edges of the map, with Team 1's comms pushing into Team 2's front line. LCR just walking right by and goes, oh yeah, there's enemy comms over there. We have Critter coming in from the west, trying to sandwich both Will-O-Wisp and Mythologist. Mythologist trying to go for a land facility to go up, to block a couple shots. That doesn't really go anywhere. And it looks like Team 2 might just blitz down Hollow Submarine, Mythologist, but Hollow Submarine is in the low yellows, almost close to the red. Just be very careful with how much he still engages with these commanders. Again, it is a 3v2 in favor of Team 2, but Team 2 is already down essentially an entire player due to Hollow Submarine, of course, in the red. We see Schmuck Benny go for a speed upgrade on board that Aeon Commander. Microplastics pushing in against Pika Man. Pika Man now trying to move him back and forth to intercept Microplastics. And Kane Lee coming, of course, to join the front, but he'll be forced back by Team 2 Sui. And in the west, Mythologist goes for a gun speed and range upgrade on that Sabrin Commander. And Team 2's Hollow Submarine starts repping up, going for reclaim. So no one has died as of yet. In a 14-player game, it is very, very likely somebody will die before 20 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen a 7v7 or an 8v8 with everybody making it to 20. Maybe I have. I don't know. If I have, it really, really rare. Especially with essentially nothing to hide behind besides a couple plateaus. It's essentially a flat map. And those are fun because it's just straight, just warfare. Just damage, and just constantly throwing mass at one another. Schmuck Benny has the range and speed upgrades on board that commander. Speed and range started here for Pika. Speed and range started here for Kenny. Speed and range started, damage and range started for the other Kenny. So Kenny, Real Dad, and Kenny Lee. And of course, now we have Team 1's Moisto moving to assist the front line as well. So now it's a 3v3 calm engagement here. Like, nobody has a gun upgrade except for Mythologist. So Team 2's Critter will be forced back. Hollow Submarine already retreating, moving to the west to hang out with some of his units. And Team 2 Saison going for his speed upgrade. A lot of spam outbound from Schmuck Benny in terms of that T1 flare spam. Very weak units, but again, you can pump out a lot of them very, very quickly. So, costs of mass versus how many units you can build, it kind of offsets one another. And in the west, Team 2's Hollow Submarine will go for that damage and range upgrade on board that UEF commander. And Team 1 has now pushed through that middle point on the map and started to exert pressure on Team 2's western side. But fortunately for Team 2, the same thing is happening in reverse for them on that eastern side, with the middle kind of just being there. Not even these mexes have been grabbed here by either player. Even the one over here, right by Pika Man, Kenny, and Schmuck Benny hasn't even been grabbed. This one in particular, so very surprising on that. Schmuck Benny will charge on forward, but kind of, again, staying at range, trying to get as much mass killed off with his commander to rep him up. And Saison also has his range upgrade, so it's a 1v1 upgrades here for both teams as players in the middle. Mythologist pushing again forward against Hollow Submarine with that gun upgrade. And that early gun upgrade hit for Team 1's Mythologist, the player who had the least amount of hit points at the time being, is proving to be the most, not the most useful, but again, very useful in forcing back Team 2. That gun upgrade will finish it for Hollow Submarine. But again, it's still a 2v1, and it's a gun comm, non-gun comm versus gun comm, so the numbers have it for Team 1. And Team 1 going to hold position for the time being. Looks like Willow just going to fall back and get some more units online. Team 2's comms in the east, forcing back Kenny. Kenny charging forward. It's a 2v3, at least in terms of where the comms are, but there's another comm of Swede down here. Not isolating, but forcing those units away from this eastern attack here and killing off the ones that did make it by. But it is, again, a 3v2 in favor of Team 1. Pika Man, Kenny, and the other Kenny focusing down microplastics. He is the high-strength player on Team 2, and he's taking a lot of plasma to the face. Elk trying to hold back with his stealth and gun comm. He's one upgrade away from his nano for a Cybrid commander. Team 2 Sizolan trying to force back this spam army of Schmuck Benny. Again, it's a lot of flares. No tanks in the mix. Not even Aurora even. Just T1 flare spam. And it looks like Team 2's Hollow Submarine has been forced back even further, but is going for nano. So he'll wrap up his missing hit points very, very quickly. But as I mentioned, that Team 2 has a foothold. They immediately lose it to this huge combined push outbound from Team 1's 3 comms. That being, of course, the 2 Kennys and Pika Man. Pika Man looks like he is the weakest in terms of hit point. No, it is still Kenny Lee. And just because Pika Man has a ranking vacancy and Kenny does not. And Team 2's Elk and Microplastics walking back, trying to force back this T1 and Team 1 land army. We do see Sweet in the east falling back as well, going for another mechs. But these units will blitz down the remaining structures here for Elk in that eastern side of the map. Team 2 holding strong, but slowly falling back even in the middle. So every side on Team 1, being the 2 sides and the middle, or each lane, whatever you want to call it, is just being pushed back by Team 1. This is a lot of aggression outbound from Team 1, and they are ecoing a little bit better by Team... a little bit better than Team 2. There we go. Wow. The English is very, very bad today for some reason. And Critter, maybe his new nickname will be Cricket, is going to try to force back Willow. Willow trying to spam up from T1 plasma cannons, but that's going to be denied here by Team 2's Cricket. I said it again, Critter. And Mythologist coming in with his forces will wipe out all of Critter's forces, and it'll essentially be isolated with the T2 UEF commando of Willow. It does look like Hollow Submarine with that nano will move into the west, and I think we're going to split it because there's a lot of action on both sides of the map. The right side for the eastern side, the left side for the western side, and we'll move that in the middle so that way we can see what's going on. And Team 2's Critter bites the dust, and he will be the first player eliminated of the game at 10.5 minutes by Mythologist and Willow. And Mythologist came in, helped get the kill, and just said, see ya, bye, and went northward. Hollow Submarine is just being beaten down by some triads, but still, again, with that nano and gun comm, will force back Willow. Willow has fallen into the yellow, does have a rank in veterancy, but of course we are seeing some reinforcements from the east from LCR. Team 1 establishing a foothold in the east with, again, both those Kennys and Pika Man taking front and center. Pika Man is in the yellow and Kenny really in the red. Same with the other Kenny. So both Kennys, they are feeling it this game. And we'll have to retreat for the time being. In the middle, looks like everything has died down. I think at this point I can end the split. We didn't miss anything, fortunately. We did get the comm of Critter's death. It is now a 6v7 in favor of Team 1, the northern team. Everything looks like has been donated to Hollow Submarine in the west. And so he'll be able to get his T2 land facilities pumping out those. He looks like missile launchers is what he's going for. I would probably think he'd go for pillars because he really needs some frontline tank units. He does have a blaze, but just those pillars would offer a lot of hit points versus the 1,000 hit points of the blazes. And it's a triad out of range of another triad, and the triad is trying to use its AoE damage to go after the other triad, but that triad is, again, still out of range, so not really going to get a lot of work done with that ground firing. Chrono Dampener going on the middle kill for Schmuck Benny. Very, very interesting. Don't really see that upgrade a lot for the Aeons. We see the shield upgrade a lot for Aeon. So one going for defense, one going for attack. Chrono Dampener, of course, can be a little bit of both with defense and attack. Can't EMP everything, but can EMP a lot of things. If they give a moment of, a little breather, if you're getting swarmed, be able to target a couple of the more annoying units, but that will finish before the shield, and we could see another outbound attack from Team 1. Nano Repair coming online here for Pika Man. Did any of the other comms go for Nano? No, Kenny is retreating, and the other Kenny is also retreating. So both of the comms for Team 1 have left their front lines. There does open a door for Team 2 to regain and push into Team 1's territory. There aren't any T2 units online, at least for Pika Man. There are some in the east here for the right Kenny, or Kenny Lee. I'll probably say Kenny Lee and Kenny Dad or Kenny Real Dad. Differentiate. Unless one of them dies, then I can just say Kenny and be done with it. Microplastics has T2 online, going for some Utashala T2 PD. Be able to start to isolate this eastern side at least a little bit, give them a little bit of more breathing room. Advanced range has been started and will complete very quickly for Schmuck Benny. Shield still coming online here for Zizon. He might go for his advanced range upgrade, but he has been beaten to the punch by his opponent. And the longer Team 1 waits to use that upgrade, the more powerful Team 2 becomes, at least in terms of the Aeon Commander. Shield coming online for the UEF Commander of Hollow Submarine, so becoming super tanky in the western side. UEF becoming tanky is like a Cybern, I don't know, teleporting, and it's just second nature almost. Most Cyberns just teleport with the Telemazer Commander. T2 PD has been knocked out by Microplastics, and Elk is trying to hold off the comm of Pika Man. Ghetto Gunships online here for him, and those looks like they're going to be shot out of the sky by that flat cannon over to the west. One transport gets knocked out, the other one trying to dodge the best he can, but will get shot down. Did do a little bit of damage to the comm of Pika Man. We could see a murder-suicide situation if Pika Man drops below 2,500. That is it. And does he? He does. And there goes the commander of Team 1's Pika Man. Team 2 loses Elk, and it is a, I like how this says drawn with. That is a murder-suicide here for Team 1 and Team 2. It is now a 6v5 in favor of Team 1. Looks like Microplastics will inherit everything that his teammate owned, and Kenny Lee will gain everything that Pika Man owned. Definitely makes sense given their positions on the map. Team 2 trying to force back Mythologist in the west, and a huge push outbound here from the orange, the color orange player. Schmuck Benny has forced back Team 2's frontline position. The advanced range has been started and is almost done here for Zizalwan. Hollow Submarine, of course, has the shield online and is trying to use it heavily against Team 1. Lots of PD coming online, lots of missiles as well, throwing, missiles at one another. Looks like it's a little bit favoring Team 2 ever so slightly with a Percy online. No Titans, just Percys. Love to see Percys, of course. I am a Percy, what would you call that, fanboy, where Percys. I don't care what faction you are. If you can get Percys in your frontline army, go for it. I mean, not even frontline army, just get them anywhere. Put them everywhere. Use them as your point defense. Who cares? It'd be very interesting to watch just players build Percys just to use them for PD. It'd be very, very fun. Anyway, T2 Gunship online can be able to deal with the rest of these units outbound from Kenny. And it looks like Team 2 has a little bit short up the defense, at least a little bit. They are bleeding in the middle here by Team 1's Schmuck Benny. But now with the advanced range upgrade on board Zizalwan, he has shield versus, of course, the Chrono Dampener on Schmuck Benny. We'll give the hit point survivability here to Zizalwan. He's just going to start walking him down. His huge T1 Landspan army needs to move in and intercept, but looks like it's not going to happen. Zizalwan still firing at Schmuck Benny, which usually indicates that Zizalwan has vision, or at least some sort of idea where he has radar online. Looks like there's that T2 radar still online. Some units, some Ilshis to the west here for LCR trying to move into the west, maybe trying to encapsulate Team 1's commander, but one of them will be insta-killed by that overcharge. Get some veterans on board that commander. Team 2's Hollow Submarine isn't pushing the attack just yet. Both of the comms on the western side here for Team 1 have retreated. And looks like Team 1 isn't going to attack the eastern side for the time being. Looks like the main attack is happening, at least on the ground side of things, in the middle. Team 1 electing to focus a little bit more on ecoing. Team 1 almost at 900 mass income. Team 2 at 750. The lead in the game by 150 mass per second more than their opponents. But, of course, this is starting to be deadly here for Team 2, especially with Team 1. I mean, they are getting their own Perseus online, but Team 2 is ahead of the game. And with UEF and Aeon Tech, that is a good combo. Of course, I'm not a huge fan of Harbingers, but being able to reclaim on the front line, very effective. I think only 2 units can do that, which is the Mantis and the Harbinger. But Schmuck Benny has fallen into the really, really deep red, sub 1,000 hit points, and Saizoan's just going to pressure him continually. He doesn't care about the blazes nearby. He wants that kill, and he is going to get it. Gets it back eventually, but it doesn't matter. Team 2 scores a hit on Team 1's commander. That is a killing blow, and it is now a 5v5 tied-up game, but a nice army outbound from Kenny. Real Dead will push back Team 2 Saizon at least a little bit. He does have some Harbingers online, so they'll do a great job in dealing with the spam outbound from Team 1's Kenny Real Dead. He is, Saizon is receiving some shots to the back of the head from Team 1's bombers, but nothing too bad. Laser. Very interesting from Team 1's Mythologist. He has gun, he has nano, he has laser. He is one step from the cloaking laser commander. And a couple of fervors able to go after some Perseus. That Perseus will die. Would have loved to see them hit the shield emitter, or shield generator behind them. But they will be forced back. I mean, the reason I call it an emitter is because I really, view the power generators via, well, that's a shield generator technically, but these are the power generators, and this is the emitter. It's kind of a little bit from Star Wars, where you have the power/shield generator, and then you have the actual emitter, which is the thing that emits the shield. So a little bit of kind of bleeding in from another sci-fi universe into Supreme Commander. I go back and forth between the two. But, sometimes it's simpler just to say shield generator, but I don't know. Emitter sounds, right to me. I don't know what it is. But anyway, in the West, again, the Ilshi's just forcing back this spam army from Team 1's Will-O-Wisp. He has control of the middle of the map now. We might see him shift over to the east, or at least the middle, to be able to guard that a lot easier. But especially with Mythologist going for laser. He needs to go for cloaking. Because once Team 2 knows about that laser comm, he will be designated numero uno and be killed off immediately. So cloaking, probably a good idea. Because it's annoying to deal with a with a laser commander, especially if you're going for GCs or experimentals and whatnot, because they do a lot of damage and they're very annoying. Cloaking immediately started, just as I thought he would. But Ilshi's very, very just shoving Team 1 back here on the middle. You see a couple of bombers overhead. They have a little EMP weapon. They can stop the Ilshis in their tracks, at least for a little bit, nullifying a little bit of that damage they can do. Radar taken out. Love to see it. Mobile missile launchers going after the Ilshis. Would not recommend that, because missiles obviously shoot where the units were and not where they are. So that's not super effective, but does at least divert them a little bit to the eastern side. T3 Mechs is under threat, going after the TMD. Very interesting play here from LCR. Makes me think he has a missile launcher, which he does not. Would have been very useful to have, but it looks like Team 1's Kenny Lee has pushed into Team 2 Saizoan's base and has some bricks online, so he'll be dealing with the rest of those very, very easily. But they did a little bit of damage to his eco. Not a lot, but a little bit. Took out a T2 P-Gen. That's always a little annoying to deal with. Cloaking is almost done here for Team 1's Mythologist, and we'll probably see that deployed immediately. Does Team 2 have an Omni nearby? No. And that might kill Team 2's Hollow Submarine if Team 2's Hollow Submarine is not careful. At 20 minutes on the clock, let's take a look at the game overall. Both teams at 5 players left. Team 1 has lost Schmuck Benny and Pika Man. Team 2 has lost Elk and Critter. I almost said Cricket there. And on Team 1's Mass Generation game, they have 1.3K. Team 2 at 1.2K, so about 100 or so mass behind their opponents. Not too bad. Could be a lot worse. They were behind 150 mass, probably about 100 or so. Obviously, we don't know the exact number, but, rough numbers. And map control definitely favors Team 1. I'd say ever so slightly at probably 55%. Team 2 at 45%. But, of course, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And if you haven't done so already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much for your time and attention. If you haven't subscribed or you have subscribed, I really do appreciate all the time and attention you give to my videos. That's honest. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Let's go ahead and see where everybody else is moving. We do see Mythologist moving south. Looks like he wants that comm of Team 2's Hollow Submarine. He's not going to notice him. And I see something very dangerous on the horizon here for Team 2. Of course, there are some radars being built right behind Mythologist, so that's always, you know, the irony there is definitely palpable. If I can get a nice little shot of that incoming threat here from Team 1. Oh, he's coming in. ACU has Omni, says Schmuck Benny. I don't think he does. Oh, he does. Wait. Do ACUs have Omni? Oh, they do. Oh. Well, let's see. How long can Hollow Submarine last? The Mythologist is in the red. Hollow Submarine. Oh, he almost gets picked up by that transport, but lucky for Hollow Submarine, he did not, because that transport got killed off, which means he would have died. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, that. Oh, yeah, there's the Omni range. The Omni range, the yellow one? I think Omni range is the. Because he was pretty close to him. He wasn't. Oh, no, maybe he was the. Maybe it's. No, it's the. Usually it's the Chevy Crimson line, I think, is the Omni, but still. That's gotta hurt. Mythologist, I love the ballsiness of the play, but unfortunately he just couldn't make it work. There was too much PD and Percy's. It was really the Percy's that didn't end. The PD did some damage, but it was really the Percy's that did most of the damage. But of course, it is now a 5v4 in favor of Team 2 for the first time in the game at 22.5 minutes. Team 1 has a chicken online, and now they have a Fat Boy, and now they have another Fat Boy. So 2 Fat Boys for Team 1 and a chicken. Team 2 has Squat. They have no Colossus, and they have a monkey being built, and they have a chicken being built. They do have 1 Fat Boy. So with Team 2 having 1 experimental, Team 3 having 3 experimental. Sorry, Team 1 having 3, Team 2 having 1. I think I said that right now. Team 2 is going to be pushed back quite severely. A lot of Team 1 spam going to be eradicated by said chicken. And some brick support as well. Love to see that. Would love to see some AA. I see a little bit in there. Not as much as I would love to see, but at least a little bit is better than none. The AA on board that chicken is horrendous. Only good for T1 bombers. Only ever good for T1 bombers. So, yeah, don't rely on your chicken for taking out gunships. No. But Team 2 is forcing back Team 1 in the west. Of course, with the death of Mythologist, it does leave a nice little hole for Team 2 to exploit. Littlebus has fallen back, but he is bringing his Fat Boy in, so Team 2 will gain a little bit of ground and then immediately be pushed back. And in the middle, that chicken is going to continue to pressure his way forward. Saison going to move in underneath the shield and try to overcharge that chicken. This could be the death of Saison. Overcharges, comes out, takes out a chunk of hit points, and Saison trying to just blitz him down. The Colossus that was being built will be denied. That chicken has lost a ton of hit points very, very quickly. Saison has dropped half of his shield capacity, but he'll be perfectly fine. Overcharges kills off the rest of that chicken's hit points. And the first ASF fight of the game will commence. Team 2 having a terrible engagement. Team 1 gets a huge benefit in that. And Team 1 will gain air control at a minimum. I don't think we're in air dominance territory as of yet. I think I'll give it to him. I think Team 1 is in air dominance territory. Usually I view air dominance about 50 or so. ASF more than the opponent, at least in terms, especially this stage. Nuke launching here for Team 2 Sweeze. So while he's been just sitting back ecoing in the southeastern corner of the map, he is going to nuke Team 1's northwestern air grid, or the only, I think, air grid of the game. And that's going to hurt SMD. It is online. It is not loaded. SMD, it is online, almost loaded. Ooh, it's gonna be close. It's not gonna be close enough though. Team 2 will score that kill. The second nuke that will launch probably will not land, at least if it lands over here. But Team 2 will score the first nuke launch of the game. Nuke launch and landing of the game. Risto says it's not loaded. Sad face. Yep, there's definitely sad face here for Team 1. And that air grid is going up in smoke and going for the mass extractors in the back. Kills off 2 of them. And the entire air grid minus a fusion reactor. The Team 1 gained air control and then didn't necessarily lose it, but they will not be producing ASS for a while. So it does give an advantage for Team 2 to build another Air Force up and fight once again. Team 1's Eastern player of Kenny going for an Awasaw bomber. It looks like they're going to go for SMD first. Definitely the better play here, where you can be protected against any sort of nukes coming after you. Counter chicken online here for LCR in the middle. Lots of dead structures and units here in the middle for Team 2. They've lost a lot of territory, and they are starting to gain it back just a little bit, at least on that western side of the middle, but definitely the eastern side is a weak point. Team 2 hasn't really had any attacks ever since that calm murder-suicide situation in the east. Team 2 doing pretty good on that eastern side. A lot of the land engagements have been in the middle, and the ones on the west have kind of died down. Now that that mobile artillery piece of the Fat Boy is online and roaming around the map. Chicken trying to go after these last bricks, but the bricks get out of range. There are some T1 bombers moving around, so they're trying to kill those off. And engineers moving forward. Looks like they were able to kill off the Fat Boy from Kenny Real Dad, so Team 1 loses another experimental. But the engineers are nearby, so they will probably scoop all that up before Team 2's Monkey Lord comes into range. But his longer range cannons are in range, and I don't think they'll reclaim everything. Well, they'll reclaim a decent amount, though. The mass is declining very, very quickly. Of course, the shots in and around that Monkey Lord, not helpful for the mass, but, you know, they're getting some of it at a minimum, so it's better than nothing. Team 2 needs to get their engineers over here and scoop that up, or some Harbingers. They could also do that. There is one right here. But I'd go for engineers. They cost less, and if you lose them, it's not the end of the world, because it didn't cost you as much. The return on investment is a lot better, especially if they're just going after a little bit of reclaim, which a little bit being 5,600. But the total map totals are 76,000, and most of that is on Team 2's side of the map. Actually, some of it in Size Owen's house on his doorstep. Counter Fat Boy here in the west here from Team 2's Hollow Submarine. It is 2v1. At least currently 2v1, and that one from Team 1's Willow will die unless it can barely get out of range. Will it get out of range is the question. Yes, it will, and kills 2 Harbingers with it. So Team 2 gets a nice little 3 birds, 1 stone with that kind of thing. And they'll kill off the 3rd Harbinger as well. Team 2 with 2 Fat Boys in the west, controlled by Hollow Submarine, moving westward, but they are going to move, at least not the Fat Boys, the units on the west are moving. It looks like they've been given attack orders. They're spreading out a little bit, and I love this here from Team 2. They're trying to line up all those units so they're all in range, and then they're going to all engage at once. Essentially, it's a formation move. Love to see it. Percy's engage. Percy's on that northern side, but the Colossus will grab one of them and crush it to smithereens. And the Percy's will retreat here from Team 2's front line. And there goes the Awasaw bomber just for insult to injury. We'll get a nice landing. Actually gets through the shielding due to the help of the Colossus and kills off everything except a couple of Percy's. So Team 2, Hollow Submarine, loses that land army. Killed off 17,000 mass with 1 bomb. Love to see it. And then immediately transferred over to the air player. Kenny just wanted to launch 1. He's like, I just want 1. I just want 1. I'll give it over. I just launch 1 of them. And he did. That's GG, says Hollow. I don't think that's GG. We still got a decent amount of game to play. And, of course, there is that monkey on the eastern side here. I don't think Kenny should have given him that bomber quite easily. Bomber dropping another of its payload. It's going to drop on top of that Fat Boy. That's going to hurt. I think it kills off the Fat Boy. No, it almost kills off the Fat Boy. But ASFs here from Team 2's Airplayer Microplastics go after the bomber. Huge engagement from Team 1's Air Force getting in behind those ASFs. Will kill off the bomber, unfortunately. But Team 1 will retain air control for the time being. Still will probably say dominance. No, I will not, because he is below 50. And Team 2 still has some ASF. And Team 2 in the west is retreating, but there is a Colossus coming online to deal with this one outbound from Team 1. We'll get a rank in veterancy here pretty shortly. But the amount of hit points is already missing. It will not matter. It's already in the red. It does get that rank in veterancy, but it's dropping hit points very, very quickly. Team 2's Colossus became a little bit of mass because of it. Second Colossus outbound from Willow moving around will be forced back. Chicken, 2 Fat Boys, and a Colossus walk into a bar. What do they see? Well, they see another Colossus and a Fat Boy, and another Colossus here for Team 1's Willow. He has pump and another Fat Boy. So Team 1's Willow really pumping out those units. 786 mass income definitely makes sense. Kenny's sitting at 640, so Team 1 leading the game in mass by at least 300 mass. Excuse me, 400 mass income. That is a huge amount of mass to be ahead here, especially at 30 minutes. We could see early a game ender. We could see a artillery piece being built here pretty shortly. Of course, Team 2 already has a nuke. So Team 2 Sweet already thought about how to end the game, not necessarily survive in it alone. Lots of artillery being built, but Team 2 is going for their own. It's from LCR. Well, he's been sitting in the middle of the map. He's been just focusing on how to end the game. He's sitting at 300 mass income, so doing a really good job in just hyper-focusing his eco, doing a lot more defensive measures, a lot of PD, a couple of artillery pieces, as well as some T3 units, but again, mostly just defenses and artillery, which, I mean, is a form of defense from long range. There is that. Team 1, I mean, they have the mass. They just need to spend it on something. I'm assuming everybody is spending it as they can. Not really a lot of stockpiling going on. A little bit here from a couple of players, but Willow is spending as much as he can and then some. He can't wait to spend his mass. He gets his paycheck and goes, ooh, what do I put that towards to? But another nuke outbound here from Team 2's Stitch Blue player of Sweet, going after the rear T3 land facility, being hyper-focused down. Of course, the SMD will shoot down that nuke. I don't think the one in the east can reach it. Even if it could, it can't launch one as of right now. The first nuke of the game that will be denied unless magically the SMD gets control K'd or destroyed off, which, again, will not happen. But, you know, surprises happen. Team 1, 3 Colossus, a Monkey, and a Fat Boy versus Team 2's 2 Fat Boys and 2 Colossus. So Team 2 outnumbered in the main land experimental, experimental to experimental game, but Team 2 now receiving firepower to their face from the Fat Boy from Team 1. Looks like the Fat Boy now receiving counterfire here, so it's again 2v1 in the long-range artillery game. I will favor Team 2, but in the middle we see a chicken and a crab versus the land army from Team 1's Kenny Real Dad. That will be stopped immediately, as that army is going nowhere, especially with 2 experimentals. Another army to the east, 2 chickens and a bunch of bricks versus a large amount of spam and some tickle cannons, so not really a whole lot to speak of over there. Those are the wrong buttons. Those are the right buttons. Again, on the right is the eastern side, on the left is the western side, because that makes sense in my brain and a lot easier to follow. One Colossus is dead. Second Colossus also is going to die. Team 1 loses one of theirs, but they'll take a 2-to-1 trade every day of the week. They will lose their Fat Boy, but again, like I said, I feel like they'll be grateful for that. They do lose their Monkey as well. Team 2 will lose a chicken. Oh, maybe if that crab can get in range. Chickens on the eastern side constantly pushing here for Kenny Lee, and while damage is happening in the west against Team 2, damage in the east is happening. SMD is going to go down. That's going to hurt. There wasn't anything loaded in it, but the Omni going down, that's also going to hurt. The nuke is probably the most important thing here for Team 2 on this eastern side. They need to protect it with all that they have. Crab doing a good job pulling away the T3 support from this land army. And it's just a crab and 2 chickens. That chicken will die. That chicken might get close to that nuke. I don't think it'll get that far. Another SMD going down. It's outbound from Swee. That one will most likely die, especially with that slow-moving shot moving in, taking out the shield generator, but not the SMD, luckily. Another Colossus falls here for Team 1, I think, because Team 1 only has one of them left. Actually, no. Maybe it was Team 2. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But Crab online, receiving Fat Boy fire. That Crab will die before that Colossus is killed off here by Team 1, so they'll lose the Crab there, and the Colossus will receive a lot of fire. Looks like it will kill off Team 2's Colossus, but it's essentially a nice little trade going on. Chicken is killed off here by that Crab. Crab is defeated, but the Monkey that was built in time, able to take out the other chicken. Team 2's Swee will keep a hold of its experimental, and this Colossus does not die. Very surprising. Mythologist does notice the arty. Actually, what is he saying to Kenny? Oh, real. Okay, he's saying there's artillery landing here. So Team 1's man from beyond the grave has noticed that Team 2 has a long-range cannon that they're currently firing at Team 1's Kenny Real Dad. The target of which was the nuke. The nuke was firing at this location. It did not land, but now the artillery is landing here, so that's going to hurt. Team 3 land facility is taken out, but 2 shields are built. So they'll stave off a little bit of damage for the time being. Lots of experimentals died in that engagement a couple of minutes ago. What are we sitting at for reclaim? 345,000 mass, and honestly, I'd say 90% of that on Team 2 side of the map. Most of it either on their doorstep or in their own house. LCR, where I already who wants it? What is he saying? Who wants it to like fire at a location? Who wants it to be taken over? Like, what's the who wants it? Like, what's the main point of the question? And second artillery is being built as we speak by LCR, again trying to end the game. And Team 2, Saison, goes to build his own emissary. The best T3 artillery in the game, hands down, will not be swayed on that opinion. In terms of just the secondary, essentially AoE that it does, the little pulse, so devastating the shield. So very, very annoying to deal with. In the northeast, we see, it's a Chevy shield. I don't see any counter artillery. Another Nuke going to be built here by Team 1. Going to be building 2 of them. I don't know if that's the smarter play. He does have no mass, so probably should just be assisting the first one instead of building a second one. I don't know. I think there are disadvantages and advantages to doing both. And he's also building an Albasaw bomber as well. Team 1's northwestern player of Mui going for his own Duke, his T3 artillery, and Megalith and Fat Boy, and Colossal production by Team 1's main line player. But now with 2 Fat Boys online here for Team 2 is Hollow Submarine, and 3 Colossus. 4. He is really pumping out experimentals, and that is a 5th. That is a 5th Colossus. He's just severely focusing, he is heavily focusing on T4 unit production. He's only producing 600 mass versus Willow's 800, so a player who has 200 less mass is essentially outproducing experimentals. Tactical missile has been started here for Willow. He will go for Billy Nuke, I'm assuming, immediately. Builds that regular missile essentially immediately, and is really just speeding up that, or it's really speeding down that upgrade. Still was positive on mass. So he's probably going to start Billy Nuking Team 2 here shortly. And that is going to be huge. Team 2 does have cyber technology, so they could go for Loyalists, but those are on the eastern side of the map, so they have to be carried all the way over here. At least the engineer at a minimum, so probably not going to happen, but we will see. We have Fat Boy, Crab, and Chicken guarding the eastern approach here for Team 1. Crab and Monkey running around. Monkey severely wounded, but another Crab online as well for Team 2. So very much both of these players not really deciding to invade. That last invasion with the chicken's probably going to be it for a little bit here for Team 1's Kenny. I don't see any scenario in which he wants to engage, because again, has already dumped a decent amount of mass on Team 2's doorstep with not really a ton of damage. So again, the ROI, the return on investment, was not great. It was not great. Lots of engineers, again, trying to scoop up all the reclaim as fast as they can, and even more Team 1 facilities being built to produce said engineers. Fat Boy on the hillock over here, getting a nice little advantage. Or not advantage. Well, I guess there's no like actual advantage. It's more like, hey, I'm up here on this plateau. It's going to be harder for you to hit me, kind of thing. That's really the advantage. Critter says artillery here, probably talking about where the artillery is landing. Yep, that is what's going on, going after the dual nukes, looks like. No, it's going further back, going after the Mechs. Baby Nuke outbound here from Team 1's Willow will do damage to those Colossus, and I don't know if it killed that off or something else killed that off, maybe the crab fire. He will score a hit. He is just producing those Colossus. Colossus now in range of those crabs. Crabs should have been retreating currently, but they are not. Fat Boy about to die. Monkey Lord dies, and now this Colossus will probably not die. Yep, it will not die. Still no veterancy, but now it's 4 Colossi versus 3. And there are some T2 artillery in range of this, as well as, of course, the 3 Fat Boys that are online. Team 2 is going to just force Team 1 to crash upon their rocks. Second Colossus is very weak, though. Team 1 has that advantage slightly, but now with 3 Colossus and one of them very weak, it's definitely favoring Team 2. Of course, Team 1 trying to target the weaker one because you do 100% of the damage even at 1% health, so definitely an advantage. There's these Colossus acting as a nice little meat shield for his buddy. That Colossus will not die, and this one also will not die, so the weakest one in that engagement, at least the start of it, will survive. And 2 nukes, though. There's, besides Zone, yep, there are 2 nukes in the east. And it's going to take a while for them to load. Artillery looks like it's actually targeting Kenny Lee specifically. He's going to actually move out of that shield coverage. Second artillery has been done, building the third one here for LCR. And Team 2's emissary almost done. Going to immediately go after, looks like this. Nope, going to go further back, go after the nukes. Wasser here says hollow submarine, so there is another bomber online that was outbound from Kenny Lee. I don't know, it was transferred over to the air player, so that is a nice benefit. But 1 Colossus versus 3. And again, not really going to favor Team 1 at all. Billy Nuke outbound once again, and Awasaw bomber, so everything landing in that one little spot. Oh, that's going to hurt. Takes out some engineers. Almost simultaneously goes off. And that Colossus will make it out of dodge, unfortunately. How much mass is killed off by Willow? Only not even 7,000 mass. That bomber's only killed off 4,000. Has not paid for its up yet from that Awasaw bomber. But the dual artillery pieces outbound from LCR will crack both of the nukes outbound from Team 1's Kenny Lee in the east. And he's losing some P-gens. Currently looks like he's building up more crabs. And Team 1 has lost a lot of experimentals on this western side, has given Hollow Submarine a ton of reclaim. He's currently sitting at 112,000, Sizolan sitting at 100,000, and everybody else in the double digits, at least in terms of the double K digits. And it looks like the SMDs are the target. There is a nuke outbound here from Team 2. Will land. The shields will protect it. 2 of those emitters will go down. But they are Cybern ones. They can be built very, very quickly. SMD still online here for Willow. The Willow drop short going after the Colossus production field. Yes, it will. It's actually might even headshot that Colossus. Nope, barely misses him. Takes out 70,000 hit points and a decent amount of those engineers. And a bunch of focus here on the west. The Willow being focused down by Team 2's air player of Microplastics gets a kill on Team 1's commander, and that is a 3v5 in favor of Team 2. That is huge for Team 2, taking out Team 1's highest rated player, but Willow went up in a bang quite literally while he was trying to throw bangs at his opponent. He went out in style, at least, just could not retreat, and one of the best reasons to build some shields, whether they be mobile or otherwise, next to you, or some AA or something. The ASFs were also right here. They just couldn't catch up to them enough. Definitely annoying for Willow. But it is a game, of course. He does play a lot, so he'll just play another game to recoup his, not necessarily losses, but he'll just play another game. As is with most people, you're like, oh, I had a bad match, I'll just play another one. Crash damage takes out half the shield on board that Fat Boy. Fat Boy's perfectly fine. He has 5. That is pretty much critical mass here for Team 2's player of Hollow Submarine. That is a lot of artillery fire. Team 1 currently sits at 1. I mean, just the damage alone comparison is huge. 1, 2, 3, 4 Colossi online here for Team 2's Hollow Submarine. He's going for his own emissary, so he just says, screw it, I'll go for my artillery and be done with it. Third artillery online for Team 2 out from Sizolan. 4th one almost done here for LCR. And 5th one in the yellow here for Hollow Submarine. Are there any more hiding? Did I miss any? Oh, that's P-Gen. Grab. Looks like that's it. Team 1, those look like their their Duke is done. It has already taken a shot, so Team 2 obviously knows where it is and is currently shooting at it. And I think that's an emissary shot. It goes, well, it hits the shield. That secondary pulse is devastating. Looks like the artillery from Team 2's LCR is going after the air grid or this position back here. One or the other. A couple of mass fabs are online. I do love the fact that they have a shield around them. I mean, obviously it's important to have shields, but I do see templates where the shields aren't included and it's just cascade effect and it's devastating. So having something around them, definitely better than nothing. Here's me, the artillery actually dropping short, going after the secondary air grid. Might be trying to assassinate Moristo right now. We'll go after the SMD. Either the air grid, the comm, or the SMD. All good plays here from LCR. Gets a P-Gen and a shield emitter down. So definitely going to be a lot more advantageous. Oh, artillery lands, takes out a decent amount of the Team 1 PD. And I don't know if it's just a side effect of what they're trying to target, but emitter comes back online and then immediately gets shut down due to the attack from said artillery piece. But 5 Fat Boys, 4 Colossus. Very devastating. Team 1 charging the middle once again here against Team 2. Team 2 has a crab and a chicken and a bunch of Team 1 spam. Team 2's microplastics really love his tiny little Medusa, his tiny little microplastics. I don't know why, but for some reason he loves them, and I mean, it's working out for him. The Percys are focusing the chicken, but there's a lot of units getting a lot of damage here. They are weaker. You know, one shot will kill them from most things, but their cannons are, you know, getting a lot of damage on those Percys. And Team 2's Mui does Control K, seeing that the game is over for him. He still had a lot of things to play with, but decided to throw in the towel. I don't blame him, because he's facing down 1, 2, 3. Where's the fourth one? Fourth one's right here. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5. He's facing down 5 artillery if they all were to sync up on one target. So that is a lot of artillery to have online. Even if it was, I mean, 3 is a lot, but 5 is 5 is a lot. But 5 Fat Boys. Oh, and again, that critical mass coming into play. Artillery raining down on the Colossus specifically? The crab that's being built? Are they trying to lead the target with the artillery? Lands right next to a Colossus, dropping him below 4,000 hit points. I don't know if LCR is trying to, like, target the Colossus specifically, but he's doing a pretty good job of landing shots next to them. I mean, he can see them, so it looks like he is targeting those Colossus and takes one out with artillery. Good shot from Team 2's LCR. Dang. That was a good shot. And I knew it was LCR because those were only 2 shots firing together. And now he's focusing on Team 1's Con? Team 1, ooh, YOLO coming online here pretty shortly here for Team 1. That could be big. But again, 5 artillery. It's a lot of artillery to deal with. The Duke is still online. Isn't dead yet, but it is still online. And Team 1's Kenny, not underneath shield coverage. Would not recommend that. Especially don't stand next to the E-storages. That would be very explosive and not good for your health. Definitely would recommend standing underneath shield coverage. Team 1 Bombers focusing one of the Fat Boys. Will scorch it a decent amount, but it will be fine. And again, like I said, 5 Fat Boys is a lot of damage very, very quickly. Look how fast they're chewing through SACUs. It's just, again, like I said, devastating. In the east, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots landing in the northeastern corner. Looks like they're switching up, going for Mavor. And decide what you want to do. Decide on the Mavor or decide on the YOLO. Both of them are not going to finish, so focus on one of them. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like the Mavor would be more important for that artillery, trying to take out Team 2's artillery. The SMDs are online, and yeah, the nukes can load pretty quickly for the YOLO, but I feel like the damage needs to be built immediately. Well, I don't know. It looks like Team 1's Kenny was building his own artillery. I might have just missed it, but that is killed off. Teleporter has been done here for Sweet. Does he have the laser? Yes, he does, so he can telemaser. Team 2 is being assaulted in the east by some crabs. 4-2 advantage. Explosions happening. That is a Rascom. And those are from Colossus. Scorches over top going after those Colossus. Once again, it is not looking good here for the western side here for Team 1. Even in the middle, T3 units outbound from Sizal and pushing in. Lots of Harbingers that are being assailed by some Ravagers to the west, but they're getting in Team 1's territory. Kenny Lee, again, 1.8 thousand mass, trying to spend it all, I would assume. Yep, trying to spend it all. It's actually like spilling mass on the edges of his base. Oh, and there goes the Mavor. They did focus on the Mavor first, as I thought they would, or would be the optimal move to go. But with, again, 3 artillery plus the additional 2, one from Sizon over here, and the other one outbound from Hollow Submarine. Just, you need a lot of shielding to be able to repel that firepower in that magnitude. And Harbingers continue to press in, going after Team 3 Mechs, just cutting off the eco here for Team 1's last remaining 2 players. Nuke outbound here from Team 2, Sui, the only one to successfully launch a nuke. And Sui teleports in, going after Kenny Lee's commander. Sui, I think, will die from this. And looks like T2 PED being built immediately. Sui trying to get close to those engineers. And T2 PD also being built by the Seraphim variety. So Seraphim and Cybern PD trying to focus him down, trying to catch up to Kenny Lee. And it doesn't look like Swee's going to get his kill. He's done a very good job here for his team, though, and tried to go out with a bang, killing off Kenny Lee, but it does not happen. And Kenny Lee is just going to admire the death of Sui. There he goes. 5-star FMC, did a decent amount of damage before his death, but he did die nonetheless. Team 1 at 2 players left. Team 2 at 4 players left. Crabs going into Sui's base. The nuke is still online. Lots of Team 1 bombers overhead trying to, and T2 Corsairs as well. No, those are not this, excuse me. Going after those crabs. Crab will die. One more crab remains from Team 1's Kenny Lee, and that attack, even if it does take out the nuke, there is 5 artillery pieces. Chickens being built. Czar under construction. Second one, first one completed, second one under construction. And the entire western edge of Team 1's bases have been destroyed, eradicated, blown off the face of the planet. Cannot say Earth. If they're fighting on Earth, they're probably fighting in the Sahara Desert, probably, but I highly doubt they're fighting on Earth, so I'm not going to say on Earth, because that phrase doesn't really apply to Supreme Commander. But some P-gens and mass fabs going down takes out some shields as well. And artillery landing on the monkey producing facility. 5 shots landing essentially in this, not the same spot, but in the same side of the map. 2 of them landing short, going after the experimental production. Looks like 3 of them going after Kenny Lee's commander. He'll take one to the leg and almost dies because it's the emissary shot. So almost kills off a commander. That's a lot of hit points to lose. One more near shot will do him in. Kenny real dead. Control K's. And it looks like game pauses very quickly by Kenny Lee, and then unpauses. I don't know how long it was, but at least in our perspective, it was very quick. An artillery shell. Will it get him? Oh, that was a direct impact. And that will be the game here, folks. 47 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Team 2 wins the game with artillery. And they won by a ton of experimentals, of course. I do feel like the Mayvor / YOLO play should have been 10 minutes before that at least started, because the artillery were just already on the ball. It didn't even matter. Again, needed way more shielding. Wasn't going to build enough shielding at that point, and it just wasn't going to work. Essentially, it was just dumping mass, and if you're just dumping mass to dump mass, it's not really going to work. Team 2's MVP, I think it has to go to Hollow Submarine. He almost died early on, got himself fixed back up, got a gun upgrade, got a nano upgrade, got a shield upgrade, almost forced back both Mythologist and Willow, but had to fall back at least a little bit. Almost got assassinated by Mythologist with that laser, but his comm has Omni on board, which I completely forgot that comms do. So he was, if it wasn't for the shield, he would have been dead. And he just outproduced Team 1's Willow in the experimental game just severely, just so many experimentals. It also helped that Team 1 was throwing experimentals at Team 2. No, obviously trying to do damage, push them back and whatnot, but because Team 1 was attacking on Team 2 sides of the map, because Team 1 wasn't gaining ground as they went, it was just mass being dumped at Team 2's doorstep. Obviously, I can't look at the reclaim numbers because the game is ended. I only see the players that were dead a while ago's reclaimed. But, I mean, we had Willow, I think it was, and Sizalwan at over 100,000 mass reclaimed just by each of them. So I'd say over maybe 400,000 mass was reclaimed by Team 2. Tons and tons of mass on Team 2's side of the map. Definitely assisted with going for those for those artillery pieces. And I feel like most underrated player definitely goes to LCR. He held the middle a lot. Held the middle decently well. Went for those artillery pieces. Really just pummeled Team 1's back line. Obviously came in to defend the west. Helped with the middle. So definitely was a very good kind of like, oh, you need me here, or oh, you need me here. Like very good to be able to move back and forth. So I think Team 2's LCR deserves MUP, most underrated player, and Team 2's Hollow Submarine deserves MVP, most valuable player. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Again, if you haven't done so already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with anyone, everyone, and especially, most especially your pets. And I will see all of you in the next one.